Welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Matthew Smith joined here with Austin Lane, our producer. Austin, we want to get out to Aaron Levine pretty quickly. Any big questions you're wondering for him today?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to ask about what Dan Wilson just mentioned in the pregame, kind of the vibes around this team right now. They brought back Geno Suarez at the trade deadline, and it's reminding me that good vibes only are back in Seattle. So let's get out to Aaron and check in. What do you want to ask him first?
Yeah, how are we feeling about the vibes right now, Aaron?
I think the vibes are great right now out here at T-Mobile Park. And Alona just mentioned a couple minutes ago that there's no rain in the forecast tonight, but we wouldn't mind getting drenched out here in the form of a champagne shower after tonight's game. The Mariners just a couple of results away from clinching a playoff berth for just the second time in the last 24 years. Tonight they can do so with a win over the Colorado Rockies combined with a Yankees win over the White Sox. Those two things have to happen in order for them to clinch that playoff spot, but then they're on the verge of so many other big things as the next 6 games take place over the next 6 days. Mariners' magic number in the American League West is only 3, so that means they can clinch the division for the first time in 24 years with any combination of 3 wins combined with losses from the Houston Astros. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. And then not only the division on the line, but a potential number 2 seed in the American League as well, which would give them a first-round bye in the playoffs. And their magic number for that is 4. That any combination of 4 Mariners wins or Detroit Tigers losses over the next 6 days will clinch them a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So much to play for. And as you mentioned, Dan Wilson talking just a couple of minutes ago, this is the reason they play the games. This is the reason we get to this part of the season, because it gets very exciting, and because they've now put themselves in a position to play for a lot of things. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on this as the team really is excited right now. But then again, they're just taking, as the old cliche goes, one game at a time, take care of business tonight, and then they'll worry about what has to happen tomorrow as well.
Hi, Aaron. We've been following along with this team all season through their ups and downs. A pretty big down right before this hot streak, actually. It was one of their lowest points in the season. They saw themselves falling in the wild card standings. Quick turnaround now, back up at the top of the AL West. What just feels different with this team right now compared to any other point in this season?
Well, I mean, it goes back to what Wilson said earlier today, is something clicked in that Atlanta Braves series, whether it was, and he didn't mention it, but whether it was the $16 some fan paid to have an Etsy witch relieve the curse from this team. But immediately after that happened, the Mariners won that game 18-2, and they've won 14 of their last 15 games. So whether that's coincidence, or whether that has some relevance here, clearly this team has responded since then, and they're clearly on this momentum of a run, and this is when you want to get hot. It's in the middle of September and leading into a postseason run into the month of October. Listen, this team, I believe, always felt like they knew they had it in them, and they've never really laid down in any game. They've always felt like they've had a chance to win games, and that's what Dan Wilson said, is this team continues to fight. And the fact that they have fought all the way to the end of the season and put themselves in this position is really a testament to all of the personalities within that clubhouse. The one thing, by the way, I love about the end of the season, which is very unique to baseball compared to any other sport, is if they are to clinch a playoff spot later tonight, then we would have the big champagne celebration inside of the clubhouse. And then if they were to clinch the division later this week, they would then have a second probably champagne celebration inside the clubhouse and celebrate some more. And then if they were to win the American League Divisional Series, then the team that wins that has a celebration inside the clubhouse with all the champagne. And then if they win the ALCS, then they have another celebration, and then a World Series championship. So that's potentially 5 celebrations that we could be looking forward to over the course of the next month plus. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that's the case. But you don't see that in, say, the sport of football, where they go on the road and the Seahawks happen to win a road game, or they win a playoff game and they celebrate with champagne every step of the way. You don't see that in other sports. You do see it in baseball, and hopefully the first step of that process can begin later tonight here at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah, at this point, I might actually ask one of our reporters around here. Maybe they can start doing some investigating, see if there's like a pallet of champagne somewhere out there. But speaking of pricey things, I do wonder, Aaron, a lot of people wonder about the arm of Brian Wu. Any updates as far as how he's doing, how he's feeling? Do we know if he's going to be ready for what's to come here with the playoff push?
Yeah, so a very positive indication from General Manager Justin Hollander just less than an hour ago today. Although Brian Wu will not be starting for the Mariners on Thursday night, that would be his normally scheduled day to pitch. They are keeping him out, but they are not going to be placing him on injured reserve, which would keep him out for at least 15 days. They know time is of the concern, but that's not the reason they're keeping him off of the injured list. Instead, it's because Brian Wu feels good right now. He's going to have a ball in his hand. Over the course of the next 2 days, he's scheduled to play catch, but he is encouraged by how he has felt the last 2 days. Remember, he was taken out because of sort of tightness in his pectoral muscles on the last road trip. That's the reason why they're keeping him out of Thursday's start. But every indication is, and again, keeping our fingers crossed, that Brian Wu will not have to go on the injured list and he will be available for the playoffs. It's, again, one more reason why a potential first-round bye would be so critical for this team, because everybody on the roster would have an extra 4 or 5 days rest while the wild card playoff series is taking place. They would have a bye straight to the American League Divisional Series, and then they would host a couple of games here to start the ALDS. I believe those 2 dates are Saturday, October 4th and Sunday, October 5th. So those are the odds right now. If you're a Mariners fan, circle those 2 days on your calendar, because guess what? We're going to have guaranteed two home playoff games for the first time in 24 years. A couple of years ago, they only had that one playoff game in the ALDS. Then again, it did feel like 2 games since they won 18 innings against the Houston Astros in that one. Unfortunately, we're not able to score any runs in that game. Hopefully, it'll be different this time around.